Once upon a time, long ago and far away, there was a little kingdom named Snark. It had a king who made the laws and collected taxes. His name was King Boris. But the people of Snark always called him Bad Boris. Bad Boris did not make good laws that helped the people of Snark live peacefully and fairly. He made laws that helped nobody but himself. One of these laws was about cats. Because Bad Boris hated cats, he made a law for everyone in Snark that said, no cats allowed anywhere. Out! Bad Boris made the people of Snark pay a lot of money in taxes. But he did not use the tax money for things that the people needed. He used the tax money to buy himself a fine carriage. One day, Bad Boris was walking in his garden. Suddenly, he saw a little kitten sitting beside the goldfish pond. A cat! Cats are forbidden! I hate cats! That was the end of Bad Boris. When the people of Snark heard that King Boris was gone, not a single one of them shed a tear. But they were left with a problem. Usually when a king expires, his son becomes king. But King Boris had no sons. He had no daughters, nor uncles, nor aunts, nor nieces, nor nephews. Who then would now be king of Snark? The Snarkians gathered in the town square to decide. Should it be the strongest person in the kingdom? Well, that would be Ben the blacksmith. Should it be the richest person in the kingdom? That would be Barnaby the banker. Should it be the funniest person? That would be Frankie the fisherman. How could they know who would be a good king? Once they picked a king, he could do anything he wanted, and they would be stuck with him. That was the trouble.
I have an idea how to make sure we can get a good and fair king,
said Stephen the storekeeper.
Let's all be kings. If we all were kings, we would never make unfair laws, because those laws would be for all of us. Also, we would never cheat with the tax money.
Because we'd only be cheating ourselves.
We'd have to be fair if we were all kings.
It's a splendid solution. And so it happened. The next day was the grand coronation. Every man and woman of Snark was crowned a king. And since they were all to be kings, they had to crown each other. Everyone was immensely pleased to be a king. So the kings of Snark met for the serious business of deciding how to spend their tax money. To their dismay, they found that everyone had his own ideas, and no two ideas were exactly alike. Instead, they talked and talked, argued and argued. But since each was a king, each insisted on having his own way. Ouch! And to make matters worse, after the weary day of debate, Barnaby the banker returned to his bank with his mind so filled with the quarreling of the day that he could not think straight. Each time he tried to count his money, he lost his place and had to start all over again. When Stephen the storekeeper came back to his store, he found that mice had gnawed right through the wall and were carrying off his best cheese. And poor Ben the blacksmith returned to find that half his shop had burned to the ground.
I must take care of my business. I have no time to be king.
And with that, he turned in his crown and rode. When Stephen the storekeeper heard what Ben had done, he said,
I also cannot afford the time to be king.
Off came his robe and crown. Barnaby the banker felt the same way. Now, all of us kings have accomplished nothing at all. Just a waste of time and money. I must have a clear head to add up my accounts. Suddenly there was a storm of voices. Wind! Wind! The pile of royal garments reached the sky. Suddenly everyone looked around in amazement. There was not a single king left. We must have a king. Who would it be? No one knew. Then Timothy the teacher spoke up.
Obviously, all of us cannot be king. And if only one of us is king, then we run the risk of getting another king like bad Boris. And we don't want that. It would be okay to have one king if we did not allow him to do only what he wants. You are right. His power should be no greater than is necessary to serve our needs. Also, every few years we will choose a new king, or keep the old one if he's doing a good job. That way, we'd still all be kings, in a way. But how would we pick this king?
Oh, I know. We'll have an election, that's what we'll do.
But how can we know who will be the best one for the job of king? We'll let each person who wants to be king tell the people his ideas and why he thinks he'd be a good king. Then we'll all decide.
And so it happened. Ben the blacksmith wanted to be king because he was the strongest. Barnaby the banker because he was the richest. Frankie the fisherman because he was the funniest. But the people of Snark voted for someone else. They all voted for Timothy the teacher because he was the wisest and the fairest. They knew he would be the best king for everyone. King Timothy was such a good king that every time the people of Snark had an election, they voted for King Timothy for as long as he lived. Today, we also have elections to pick the leaders of our country. We call the people who want to become the leaders candidates. Each candidate tells the people his ideas. He promises the people what laws he would try to make and how he would use the money from taxes if he were elected. And then the people vote for the candidate they think would be best. But once a candidate is elected, he cannot just do whatever he wants. He has to keep his promises. Otherwise, the people will vote for a better person in the next election. When the people are free to vote for their leaders, then all the people are still in charge. Just as the people of Snark once upon a time, long ago and far away.